Hello and welcome to Christian Heritage Talk. Today I am sick, a little bit under the weather, but most important, I am sick about what's happening in the city of Patterson. So, most of you who know me as the president of New Jersey Pulse newspaper, but I'm also president of the Christian Heritage US. And that's how I wanted to speak to you today. I just got on the wire and saw on Politica NJ, who are friends of ours, that the Democratic Party in Patterson has all but endorsed Andrew Sayegh and Bill McCoy as well for the mayor of the city of Patterson. Well, let me just let you know, this is an election now where it's Islam against Christianity. You see, a lot of folks in Patterson are not aware who Andrew Sayegh is and why this is so important to oppose the Democratic Party and oppose what they're doing. You see, for 12 years, the Democratic Party has been using Africans, Americans, blacks in Patterson against Republicans. Most of what they've been saying is that these are the rich white people who have kept you in slavery, when in fact it was the Democrats who kept blacks in slavery. And all that has been switched and changed around to make blacks believe that they're on their side. And I've left that alone. I left that alone for 12 years. But sometimes when God sends you in the city, you never know why. You never know the cause that God has chosen for you. And I often wonder, why am I in Patterson? Why would God send me to a city like that? Until I saw this on the news. You see, Andrew Sayegh, a long time ago when he was running for city council in the 2nd Ward in Patterson, insisted that I interview him. I was interviewing the other candidates, and he said I should interview him too. And I told him no. And he called back again several times and insisted that I interview him. So I interviewed him on an audio tape at my office. And what he had to say was very disturbing concerning the Christian faith. You see, Andrew Sayegh is an Arab American. He's a white Arab American. And he's being passed off as a white Protestant American. But most people don't understand. He is not a white Protestant American. He is an Arab American from the Muslim community. Now, his mother is a Christian, and she's very appalled. I've spoken to his mother at a Christian event, and she was very appalled. She was crying on tape that Andrew Sayegh was going to marry a Muslim woman. And I listened, and actually I did have a recorder going when this was happening, and I was confused, and I thought he was a Muslim, and I thought he was a Christian. So what I did on the tape is I asked him, are you a Muslim or are you a Christian? Because on one side you're speaking to support the Muslim community, and on the other side you're speaking to trying to attempt to get Christian votes. What he said to me was, I asked him, are you a Christian? And he says, well, I'm a Christian, actually, no, I'm a Catholic. And so one of the things that we Christians have to do is to find out who are the hirelings among us. Now, Jesus has always given us instructions. And those instructions are to look out for those who would come and pretend that they are one of us, only to get what they need to get for others. He talks about the hirelings, he talked about thieves, he talks about shepherds, he talks about the wheat and the other goats and sheep. And we should always be careful about those people who think that they are one of us when they really have different intents. Now, I wrote a story about Andrew Sayegh a long time ago saying, I labeled it, Unmasking Sayegh. And I wrote a lot of things that he was a liar and he was manipulating the community for power and for money. And he funneled millions of dollars to the NJCDC in Patterson, where he went and he got a free office in their facility. And he was also, by the president of the NJCDC, given a $40,000 a year job in the Patterson Alliance. And he continued to do these things. He has a greed and a hunger for power. And as Christians, what we need to do is we need to find out who among us is really our leaders and should be. We have laws. We have Christian laws like Deuteronomy 17:15, where God warns us, when you form a nation and you have a God, in our case, Jesus Christ, choose no one to rule over you except that of your own faith. Now, this guy has been pretending to be a Christian. So in the recording that you can hear, there's a link on this website, and I will include it here. In this recording, I'm talking about Jesus, and I'm asking him, The one, you see, when people try to pretend they're one of us in a society that has been networking and putting their vines in our community, we have to find out where it's coming from. And the one key question to find out if somebody's a Christian, to stop them at the door, is this: do you believe that no one gets to the Father but by Jesus Christ? That is a key question that Christians must ask if they want to find out if somebody is for them or against them. As Jesus said, if you're not for me, you are against me. And in John 14:6, Jesus specifically says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me. And if you want to be a Christian, that is the first thing that you have to pass. And so I asked him the question, and he couldn't answer. He could not answer. And I asked him again. And he says, well, I believe the Jews are going to heaven, the Muslims are going to heaven. And then I tried to stop the conversation, but he stopped me and he continued. And he said, I believe you can just be a good person and get to heaven. In other words, you don't need Jesus Christ. And this guy has been getting votes from Christians in Patterson like crazy. He's been wooing the churches. And then he's taken those votes back to his Muslim community, where he is helping them. And there was a couple of stories written just in a few days about him getting donations from these Muslim community members and members in his ward, and then turning around and giving them contracts with hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is a dangerous man. He's dangerous for the community, and he's dangerous for the Christian faith. Now, I left alone what he said against Jesus Christ. And I often ask God, I'm here for a reason. And I guess the reason is to expose this guy among your people, I assume. So I continued in Patterson. And then I was at a Ramadan event at 401 Grand Street in Patterson. It's the Freeholders building where they were putting up this Muslim symbol for Ramadan. And he took the mic. And as the minute he took the mic, I hit the recorder on my camera. And I said, this has got to be interesting. And he began to defend the jihad. Now, the United States government, and you can go to jihadwatch.com, and they will tell you what the jihad is. It's a term that you use to kill Americans. It's a term that you use for war. It's a term that you use to defend Islam and the Muslim community. And you have to pick up arms against others. He defended that jihad. He says there's a misconception about it. He continued that it's a war with oneself. He tried to play it down so people won't see that, that's this government said the jihad is this. What are you saying? And you're a government official. And I found his language disturbing. But he didn't stop there. He continued about you don't have to be a Muslim to appreciate Islam and praising Islam and all this kind of stuff. So how is this a Christian? How is this one of us? Is this the man that Jesus warned us about and said there's a hailing among you, and there's people who will come and say they're after Christ, and these are the goats among the sheep? Is this one of the men that Jesus warned us about? I think so. And he's right there in our faces. And all you have to do is open up this Bible, and you'll see it for yourself. This is the man that Jesus warns us about the most. He acts like one of us. He talks like one of us. He pretends to be one of us. But we have laws. This is a fair-skinned Arab. And he's very cunning. He's very smart. But Christ is also smarter. To tell his people to stay away from characters like this gives us warning in the Bible, identifying them. And when you see them come among you, get rid of them. Do not vote for them. Now let's get back to Bill Pascrell. Bill Pascrell said he loves the United States. He's always defending America. Well, how do you defend America, Mr. Pascrell? How do you defend America and support someone who is speaking against our country? How do you defend that, Mr. Pascrell? This man defended the jihad that and you're in Congress, you're in all these committees, in the war committees, and you knew or should have known, that they used the jihad to attack the United States and attack us on 9/11. You know that. And you still supported this man, Mr. Pascrell. How could you say you love America and support this man against our country? And how could you say you even love Jesus Christ? I don't know if you're a Christian, and then support this man after he spoke evil against Jesus Christ. Now, we're going to put up a photo here of Sami Mehi. Sami Mehi defended 9/11. He defended the terrorists that they said, and while he was going to become a freeholder candidate in Passaic County, they didn't choose him anymore because they felt it was inappropriate to defend those who did things on 9/11 or speak against the country. Here is the photo of Sami Mehi next to Andrew Sayegh supporting him. And when you support him, you support each other. So he's supporting the jihad, supporting things against the United States, and this guy wants to be mayor of the city of Patterson. Is anybody paying attention here? Is anybody? And you have 380 churches in the city of Patterson. Well, this man is coming and pretending that he's a Christian, pretending that he's one of us. And nobody is standing up and telling him, you can't say you don't need Jesus and become one of us. And even if you change your story now just to get Christian votes are not for sale. Now, I heard they raised $80,000. The Democratic Party, let's get to them for a second. The Democratic Party has been using African Americans, using blacks in Patterson, who the majority are Christians, against Republicans. Who, mind you, I don't have a fancy for these days because, I try to look for the civil rights thing that they enacted a long time ago, but it's more two Democratic parties in Passaic County, and it's hard to choose. So I can understand why it's an easy sell to turn blacks against Republicans and pretend that you were their savior in 1964 when it was the Democrats that tried to stop blacks from voting. But nobody talks about this stuff. Slavery was committed by the Democratic Party. And now today the Democratic Party has kind of corralled the black community and turned them against Republicans so they can rule Patterson. And so today what's happening, we just have a resolution that was being passed in the city of Patterson. Andrew Sayegh, not only did he give a whole bunch of stuff to the Arab community, now we heard that a whole bunch of property was bought up in Patterson by the Muslim community to build this huge extension for them. And Andrew Sayegh, a Muslim, and I'm going to tell you why I know he is, try to let them do this without letting the city council know. And can you imagine if he becomes a mayor, what would happen to the Christian community? So I had a conversation with one of the council members, and he told me that Councilman Bill McCoy is the one who pulled a resolution and caught him doing this for his Islamic brothers. So what we're going to do is we're going to call Bill McCoy and on our show. We're going to ask him whether or not this was true. So let's get Bill McCoy on the phone. McCoy, this is Serrano from the Serrano Show. You are live on the Serrano Show.
Oh, okay.
We are videotaping. You are live.
You gotta put a fundraiser together and you gotta hire a psychiatrist for your friend.
Which friend?
Tavares.
Why?
He needs one.
Okay.
He's losing his mind.
We're talking about his rant at the council meeting.
Yes.
Okay, we'll deal with that another time. And yes, just remember, you're live on a talk show. So I have a question I need to ask you. Tell me about the resolution that Andrew Sayegh tried to push for the mosque.
The resolution wasn't so odd. It's just a matter of timing and process. What it involved is turning Wall Avenue into a one-way from 13th Avenue, one block over to Broadway, and simultaneously approving compact, what we call angle parking, so that folks could park in a diagonal on one side of the street and regularly on the other side, thereby increasing the number of parking spaces available on that block.
Okay.
It's nothing that is totally out of the ordinary or inconsistent with what we have done in the past. However, the way in which that was done, without anyone being aware of it, myself, who lives 2 blocks away, and the councilperson for the ward, was a bit underhanded. I don't know if it for which I had no knowledge. And when I met with the mob, they were not ready to commit to those future plans either. So I'm not too sure fully where he was going, but it was clear to me that he appears to have made promises that he couldn't keep.
And the promises were to whom?
I believe the same promises for the mob that he was willing or able to make that change happen all by himself.
And this was the Passaic County Islamic Center, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So he had gone ahead of you guys and put the plans through, and then you, I guess, noticed it. Was it on the consent agenda, or was it on a regular?
It was on the workshop agenda. They had already moved by it. As I said, it doesn't appear to be something that's highly unusual. We don't do it often, but the mere fact when I realized where it was, and specifically the street, which is almost 2 blocks away from my house, that's when I raised the red flag, and the rest of the council was very much unfamiliar with what was being proposed, and I felt we needed more details as to how it came about. But obviously, he's running for mayor, and people tend to get a bit carried away in making promises during the campaign. But changing the city's infrastructure is not something that we should take lightly or do without some serious deliberation.
And you pulled a resolution, correct?
Can I do what?
Did you pull a resolution?
Right. The resolution was pulled off of the regular meeting agenda for this Tuesday and placed on the next workshop, which would give sufficient time for me to review the issue and meet with the mosque to find out fully what the plans were and be better informed to make a judgment as to whether or not that's something I could support.
Now, I just noticed on Politica NJ he had a big fundraiser by the Arab community, the Arab American leadership. Are those the same people?
I do not believe it's the same group. I'm not too sure who that group is specifically, but I don't believe it's the same. It sounds like that was the South Patterson group, but I.
So that was Councilman Bill McCoy of the city of Patterson. And what he did was, this is his ward. And what Andrew Sayegh is trying to do is trying to make deals for this election, giving up spaces and businesses and contracts so he can become mayor. But most of what he's doing for the Arab community. He can't do anything for the Christian community because he's not of Christ. And clearly, by saying you don't need Jesus Christ to get to heaven, it's definitely somebody you do not want to run your city and rule over 380 churches in the city of Patterson. And claiming somebody who is defending the jihad and praising Islam and giving homage to it is not one of us. So to you Patterson Christians, wake up. Wake up and see what's happening to your city. Do you want to hand it over to Islam? Do you want to hand it over to another God? Is that what you want? So I'm here to tell you, and I'm here to open your eyes, and I'm here to warn you. Now, I have Muslim friends. And Muhammad Akhtaruzaman, who became the councilman in the second ward, when he was ousted from his office, he was very depressed. He has never spoken up against Jesus Christ. He has never spoken up against our faith. So I encouraged him to fight. I encouraged him to go into the city council, to go to the county clerk and the city clerk and refile his petition to win his election. And he was very down and depressed. And I told him, don't worry, just go back and do it. And you see, I encourage people who I think can make peace with the Christian community, make peace with the Christian faith, and not speak evil against us. If you want to be in power, fine. But you got to be in power to work with the Christian community. It was Councilwoman Vera Ames who was brave enough, probably the only one who was brave enough to say, Patterson is still a Christian community. And that's who we are. And I, for one, am damned if I just sit here and watch this man manipulate this community so that the resources could go to our people. Some of those people I like because they're at peace with us. They don't speak evil against Jesus Christ, and this is my major concern. As long as you don't speak evil against Christ and try to manipulate our churches to get what you want and override our laws and our commitment to Christ, then we're fine. But when people like Andrew Sayegh did it, and do it, and continue, and he wants to take that back to his community, that's fine. That's not fine. Now, he married Islam. I know he made a deal that his wife is a Muslim, and she's been a driving force pretending she's not. She's an Arab Muslim, and her marriage to Sayegh gave him a lot of connections with that community. That's fine. Then stay there. Do what you can for that community there. But to come and to want to rule over 380 churches is not right. We are a Christian people in Patterson, in Passaic County, in New Jersey, and in the United States. And we want to make sure that nobody trashes our religion and our faith. And then come back and say, hey, I'm one of you, I want your vote. Well, guess what, Mr. Sayegh? Our vote's not for sale. In any Christian church that you go to, I will broadcast that church. And I will make sure that that church is against Jesus Christ. Kind of like the Sanhedrins and the scribes and the Pharisees that went in bed with politicians. Well, any church that is in bed with you, I will publish it. And I will name those churches. No church has a right to surrender Jesus Christ to anyone like this. So again, Patterson, wake up. Wake up and see what this man is about. And John Kerry and the Democratic Party, they're done with you. They're finished. The blacks against the Republicans. They've used you enough. And now that they inserted Donna Ivey in the race. Did you know that? To bring down the votes of Jeffrey Jones. Two blacks fighting against each other. That's what the Democratic Party has now done. Pit two black against each other so they can level each other out and then bring in an Arab councilman so he can get the votes to win this election. That's what the Democratic Party has stooped to. That's how low they've become. Now, somebody asked me a question a long time ago, you're as powerful as John Kerry. I said, no, I'm not. I'm as powerful as God wants me to be, as a Christian. And seeing that this is a Christian show, I tell you this. Nobody who speaks evil against Jesus Christ, defends the jihad, and praise and glorified Islam should ever rule over Christians. That's what I'll tell you as a Christian show. Nobody. Especially Andrew Sayegh. I don't have to tell you he's a crook. You just have to look at his deeds and what's being broadcast about him. That's who he is. He does not work in Patterson. He's employed in Bergen County. His big Arab push with the Democratic Party was done in Clifton, which means none of that money comes back to Patterson. None of it. Most of his donors are from outside of Patterson. You just have to look at his election report and you would see that. So I'm saying to you again, Patterson, my Christian brothers and sisters in Patterson, my Christian brothers, from my Jesus, for the sake of his kingdom, for the truth and the honesty, the only Christian in this race is Jeffrey Jones, maybe Joey Torres, and I don't see anyone else that has done anything for Jesus Christ. Now, Jeffrey Jones actually helped us with Christian Heritage U.S. It's a resolution we passed in the city of Patterson to designate September as Christian Heritage Month. And every time we have a meeting, he's been there. Joey Torres has never been to one of our meetings, but he is a Christian as well. I'm just saying, it's the lesser of the two evil here. But as far as Andrew Sayegh is concerned, he does not belong in us. If Jesus was here, and you ask him, he would ask you the same thing. Did he ever speak evil against me? Did he ever tell anybody you don't need Jesus to get to heaven? That you could go to any other God? And if the answer is yes, then the vote for him is no. My name is Serato Keith Baltio, the president of Christian Heritage U.S., Christian Heritage Talk. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.
We pray your kingdom come.